So today we're going to be showing how to put brakes back onto a trailer. So this kind of looks crappy, but I had a professional welder do this. There was a breakaway tongue on here. The guy before me cut it off and took the actuator off, so I took it to a welder. I got the right actuator. I didn't get a breakaway just because the breakaway actuator was over $300. This one was about $120. So it's put on there. There's a sleeve in here, and then it's welded here and here. So that was the first part of it. Now the second part of it is going to be actually going in. So I took these apart before, and I took the wheels apart, and the left side of the trailer has no brakes. The right side has brakes. I'm going to show you today, it's just going to be part one. I'm going to show you how to measure, get all the right stuff. So stay tuned. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you how to take the wheel off, which obviously that's easy, it's your lug nuts, but I'm going to show you how to measure the brakes so that you get the right bearing size, you get the right brake size, and you can you'll be able to see the assembly in there and what we're going to replace. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to do a little trailer maintenance. As I said before, this guy had a breakaway tongue and then cut it off and took all the brakes off of the trailer. So I want the brakes back on because it's a bigger boat and it'll be helpful in fast stops. So stay tuned. All right, so the first thing you want to do is jack up your trailer so you can get to the wheel. Jack it right up in there. She's jacked up now. And then you're just going to zip your wheel. I always like to put a jack stand under the back of the trailer. Not just in case she falls. So take your lug nuts off. So you got your lug nuts. Okay, so the lug nuts are off, and the tire is simple enough, easy enough. So now that exposes your drum. This is your drum right here, and this is where your bearings live right in here. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit so you guys can kind of see a little better. If it gives you a hard time, you just take a little. You don't want to beat it off too bad, but you just give it a little tap. And these are the covers for the bearings. This is how you're going to get your. So there it goes. It's coming out now. So that's your cover, and that's where the bearing lives, right in here. Now you're gonna need some rags here, and I'm gonna clean that out, but I'm gonna stop the video because that's gonna take a while. So we're gonna clean that out and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I got that all cleaned out. So now there's a cotter pin in here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit even more to see if you can get better angle for you guys. There we go. Okay, so there's a cotter pin in here that you're gonna take out, and then you're gonna take the nut out that's over there. And this is all pretty simple stuff. As you can see, I just use a pair of diagonal cutters for the cotter pin. And you just grab it and straighten it out. Push it through. I just grab the top like this and just pry. It usually comes right out. So there's your cotter pin. And then you've got your collar, your protective collar that locks the cotter pin in. And then here's your nut. That I just use a pair of channel locks on. It doesn't need to be very tight because you don't want it compressing the bearing too much or it'll create friction. So you see it's pretty loose. So once you get it broken, you can just do it by hand. And the quick way to get it off, you can just pull the drum and then, so there's your bearing. Now there's a lot of grease on here, but there's a washer on here. You do not want to lose that washer. Okay. So here's your washer and your nut. And then here's your bearing. This bearing actually isn't too bad. I'm just going to replace them because I'm having it out. So here's your bearing. Bearing is there. And then here's your drum. So the drum is right there. And this is how we're going to measure. And here's your brake assembly. So the nice part is you just take these 4 bolts off and they make a whole assembly for this. So here's your spindle. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to measure these drums. I'm going to clean my hands off here. I'm going to show you how to clean these drums, measure these drums. And it's really pretty simple. So to measure the drum correctly, you're going to be measuring the depth. Let me see if I can get this a little closer for you guys. So you're going to be measuring the depth. So get this over here. Okay, there's your drum. Okay, so now you're going to measure the depth in here. The depth. And that's going to tell you what size. So it's going to be 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/8. So you just take a measuring tape and you just measure right down in there. And this one is it looks like it's going to be 2 1/2. 2 1/2 or 2 1/2 or 2 7/16. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to measure the diameter. That's going to tell you, and that just you measure from here to here, and that'll tell you what size also. So these are 10-inch, yeah. So these are 10-inch, 10 by 2 1/2 for your brake shoe assembly. Now the bearings, the spindle will be a little different. You have to do the same thing with the bearing because you got to figure out what size bearing you got. And right in here, so you're going to measure right in there. So it looks like that's 1 1. It's kind of hard to tell. Looks like 1 1/16. 1 1/16. So basically you've got 1 1/16 brakes. So the back bearing is going to be a little bigger. So I'm going to go online and just see what I can do. But that's really the simple way to do it. It's pretty simple. And that's all that it takes. So you want to measure those 3 measurements. So the depth of your drum, the circumference of your drum, and then just what your spindle is. So that'll tell you it's 10 by 2 1/2, and and we got an 1 1/16 bearing. So those are going to be pretty much your measurements. So now I'm going to just reassemble everything so I can still use it, and then I'm going to go and order my stuff. So there you have it. That's how you take it apart and get ready for the measurements. Once I get the stuff, it's a little more involved, obviously, to put it back on. But it's not too bad at all. It's pretty easy to do. So once I get the stuff, stay tuned. This is just part one, the prep and getting everything measured. I'm gonna order this stuff, and then I'll show you guys how I put it all on. It's really, it's a lot easier than you would think to do. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the second part when I'm putting everything back together.